Hey everybody, it's Andrea Renee here. So today's question is kind of challenging. The question is, what do you prefer more, gameplay or story when it comes to video games? Can one be successful without the other? I think the short answer to this question is no, one can't be successful without the other. I think that they both are incredibly integral to the overall gameplay experience. For me personally, the mechanics are usually what keeps me coming back to a game over the story. I've certainly gotten stuck in really addictive mechanics for games that have little to no story. Not gonna name names. But yeah, so for me personally, that's what I prefer. But of course, story is super important as well. This is a really tough question, to answer in that sense. Maybe this would be a good question for us to expand upon on the podcast.
Hey everybody, I am filming this from my car as I'm driving because as usual, I'm late in getting it to Brittany and I'm giving you the sensation like you're taking a nice drive with me. When it comes to video games, I would say that gameplay is not as important as story. Story is what drove me to games, story is what got me into them. I'm turning now. Story is what got me into them. Final Fantasy, my first big games. I didn't really focus too much on the mechanics when I was getting into them. The thing that I like to talk to people about more and the thing that I scrutinize more heavily is story. I feel like a good story is the thing that you remember, not the cool gun you get or the cool thing you shot. I'm just using shooters as an example. It could be, the cool staff you got or whatever. It's the stories that occur in the game, it's the narrative, or the stories that you make together, like in MMOs. All right, I'm entering a roundabout now, so I should probably stop filming and pay attention.
So when it comes to story versus gameplay, my first gut reaction is to say story, story, story all day, every day, because that's why I like to play video games, is for their stories. I like to be immersed and it lets me escape. I like to learn about new characters and the plot twists and the lands and the lore, and it's very good. I love it so much. That said, there are some games that have little to no story that completely consume my life, and I will continue to play until the day I die or until the day they cease production. One of them is being represented right behind me, actually. That chicken wearing the PlayStation VR headset is from Harvest Moon, and if you look at a game like Harvest Moon, the story is very minimal, but it's the gameplay of raising your farm and raising animals and watering your crops and deciding what you're going to do with your time and your limited resources that really captivates me. So this is a hard one. That's what she said. And I think this is something that would probably require a much longer video. But I'm going to say story is more important to me for now. But I'll have to have a very long internal debate with myself and try to come to a conclusive answer.
Hey friends, so I'm recording myself in my car mostly because I'm too embarrassed to do this outside, which I should do it outside because it's hot as balls in my car and I can't run my AC right now while I'm doing this, so I'm gonna get progressively more sweaty as I talk. Anyways, this week's question is about gameplay and story and which one we value most and whether or not something needs to have both, etc, etc. So my thoughts on gameplay and story are that I typically prefer story. I value story more than gameplay. However, I do like there to be a good balance. Hello, car. I'm not somebody, but at the same time, I enjoy what you would call walking simulators. They're not my favorites by any mean, but I will appreciate the story that they're trying to tell me. I think Edith Finch did a really great job of mixing gameplay and story, of making the walking simulator a bit more interactive, so I appreciated that. And in the most, things like Horizon I think are really well done. The gameplay was awesome. I really enjoyed the story. I think for the most part, a lot of action games lose themselves towards the end of their tale. They have a really nice intro, they have a really good middle, and then it just sort of fizzles out in a lot of games, and I really wish people could nail the endings a little bit more. I get it's hard because, you want to leave something there for a sequel if it does well. There's a lot of factors that go into it, so I'm not trying to bash the storytellers of the gaming world. It is just something that I've noticed though, where I think it's a bit lacking on most AAA games, but a lot of the smaller indies are doing a really great job with storytelling. So yeah, for me, I like there to be both, but I kind of go both. That sounds dirty, but I go both ways. There are also games that I appreciate just for gameplay. Obviously, Mario is a great example of that. Mario, who fucking cares? Peach is gonna get kidnapped again, you're gonna go save her, but it doesn't matter because it's not really what the game is about. What the game is about is just jumping a lot, and that's okay because it's great. So it really depends on the game for me. I like both things, and I really like it when they're meshed together.